Charlotte Market Buzz, your daily news source for all things real estate in the Charlotte metro region, both North and South Carolina. And today I'm going to let you follow me around. We're going to talk about a little bit about the day in the life of an agent because one of the large uh, pieces of a real estate transaction are inspections. And inspections are super important. And in the case of North Carolina, which is an as is state, and you have the not only right, but the obligation to inspect anything and everything you have concerns about, I highly recommend a stucco inspection. Now, there's a couple of different types of stucco inspections, and we'll talk about what it is in a minute. But you can have an invasive and a non-invasive stucco inspection. Okay. And in the state of North Carolina, the seller, the inspections can't be invasive unless the seller approves. So any inspection is going to be exterior walls. Okay. We're not drilling holes in walls. Okay. We can drill holes in walls to repair things, but we're not drilling holes to inspect. So if you decide you're buying a home and you want that invasive inspection, you've got to ask the seller and get permission for that. But let's talk a little bit about what stucco is and what kind of inspection can you expect. And then I'm going to show you an inspection report that I got yesterday. Okay, so stucco is a cement siding. It's used on exterior. It can be used on interior. It is durable and weather resistant if it's applied properly and if it's maintained properly. They make it by mixing sand and cement and water and some other things. And it's applied to interior or exterior homes. You see a lot of stucco in Arizona. You see a lot of stucco in Nevada. You see a lot of stucco in New Mexico and Texas. And you can see some stucco in North Carolina. Now, here's the issue. In most parts of our state, we are a subtropical climate, which means we get a lot of rain. Okay. I don't know if you have noticed over the last few days, but we have had tons and tons of rain. Now, there's something else out in the world that's called synthetic stucco. It is different than normal stucco. It's some foam insulation and adhesive and some polymers. Okay. I haven't heard good things about it. I haven't run across it a lot. I will tell you. Um, it applies just like stucco. It can be water resistant. It has some fiberglass mesh to it. And in its definition, it should be more water impervious because it is created by some more synthetic substances, but that has not always been the case. And so and I have a hard time distinguishing between stucco and synthetic stucco, which is why I always recommend to a client to get a stucco inspection. And I'm very, very directive with my clients about it. A non-invasive stucco inspection costs about $325. So it's not a significant amount of money. But I have seen people that have like stucco around windows where they've had their windows replaced and there be nothing but rot in those walls. And I've seen some homes that have cost over $100,000 in repair. So if you think about the cost of doing inspections, okay, which is always something that my clients, they don't want to pay for inspections. Nobody wants to pay for inspections. Inspections are expensive, but you do inspections to to find the things that frighten us, okay, the things that we don't want to be saddled with. What if you did a stucco inspection and found out that the interior walls of a house were rotted out? I think you'd want to know that. I don't think you'd want to buy that house. And I furthermore don't think that you would mind losing some due diligence money to get away from a house of that nature. And this is really why we inspect. There are some systems in our house that are incredibly important. Structural is important. Roof is important. And actually, structural problems can cause roof problems. But if you have an exterior siding of some sort that has allowed water behind it, it will cause problems and it will be costly if it is not addressed up front. So, word of caution for you, if you are looking at a home with stucco exterior, partial, full, this particular house in this inspection we're going to look at is for a home that there's some stucco trim around the garage doors. So there's a lot more places than just like front or this section. So the inspector went out and looked at everything. So that's just a little bit about inspection. Why does it scare me? Because it can allow water behind it, as a lot of other sidings can. I saw a house a few weeks ago with masonite siding, and that was something that was put on homes in the 80s and early 90s. And masonite works great until it doesn't. And when water gets behind it or into it, you have problems. So maybe we'll talk about masonite sometime, but for now, we're going to talk about stucco. So stucco, natural stucco is a concrete product. It is applied to the exterior or interior of homes. It is important that it is applied correctly. And this particular house inspection that we're going to look at, this house, I want to say, no, I don't know when this house was built, but it was built in, I want to say, before 2009. Okay, so it's been around a little while. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you this report. I'm not going to show you the address, but I want you to see it because this is something that we deal with quite a bit. And here's the inspection report. Okay, I'm going to move it here so I can read it a little better. Okay, so here's some information at the front, on first page, that talks about the inspection and that sort of thing. So Morgan, the stucco inspector, has completed an evaluation of exterior finished system at the above reference house. It is cement or hard coat stucco, stone brick, and EPS detailed over brick cladded home. The findings provided are based upon the following information. Okay, so we're going to go through this. The portion of the home evaluated is the hard coat stucco and the expanded polystyrene system details. The evaluation of the structure relates primarily to areas of moisture infiltration where the stucco and the expanded polystyrene details have been applied. Okay. The process used for evaluation is based upon the experience and understanding of moisture sources, its related effects, and how those effects can be exposed. All right, coffee break. The evaluation includes potential areas of moisture intrusion, woodwork such as windows and doors, sealant and protective flashing. Okay. The penetration tests, if used, are performed using equipment designed through the stucco material itself. So we did not do penetrative tests. Okay. The intent of this report and related photographs is to provide you with information relating to code or industry standard violations. It's not to do that. It's to detect deficiencies that are causing or could likely cause adverse future conditions. You will be provided with possible solutions for repair. This evaluation is intended to be visually thorough, although there is no guarantee that all deficiencies may exist and will be detected. Okay, so there could be some hidden deficiencies because we did not do an intrusive stucco test. All right, so here we go. The industry standard hard coat stucco finishing system normally consists of a combination of gypsum, wood base, or strand wire substrate with a protective structure barrier material, wire lathe, Portland-based cement scratch coat, a second coat often referred to as a brown coat, and then applied finish. So you're going to start with the barrier material. They're going to lay wire over it in a grid so it'll stick. Then the cement scratch coat, a second coat of cement, and then a finish. Okay. Total finish thickness will be 1/2 to 7/8 of an inch. So not a lot. Typically, EPS foam architectural details will be applied over the brown coat and finished to match. Okay. So maybe some architectural details will just be that foam with a finish. Okay. Variations from the building standard may include single or two-coat Portland-based cement layers with embedded fiberglass mesh and finished coatings that may either be true stucco or synthetic. So he is inspecting either true stucco or synthetic stucco. Okay. All right. So results of the evaluation. So this is the inspection, and here is the legend. DR is dry rot. Okay. CF is compression or stress fracture. KO is missing or improperly installed kick-out flashing. A to Z, see corresponding letter and system evaluation. Okay, so this is just A. All right, so this is A. He has found right here that there is some dry rot in this sash. Okay, so that's something that we're going to have to take a look at. All right. And remember, we've got EPS over brick here. So this is just the synthetic foam over with a finish to match. Okay. Now, over here, this is actually a brick exterior with the EPS over brick. Okay. EPS over brick here. This is hard coat stucco over frame at entry. All of this is hard coat stucco. Okay. Same. This is going to be EPS here, and this is going to be probably hard coat stuck or EPS over brick. Let me see. Let's see on the next page. Okay, so that's right. This is EPS over brick. There's a big old magnolia tree that needs a little trimming. Wouldn't you agree? And then here we go. EPS over brick block. Okay. And we can see here probably needs a little sealant, but nothing crazy. Okay. And then here we have a very minor on the edge of the garage door, some minor EPS damage. So that's going to need a little bit of a being addressed. Okay. So the following items and conditions noted during the evaluation. Head protection appears to exist above the doors and windows. And what that means is there is some sort of flashing or something that protects the water from going down, hitting the front of that structure and kind of going down behind it. Okay. There is window and door sealant. There's proper sealant to exist around the windows and doors. They did find some dry rot at a window sash. It was noted in photograph 1. It is recommended to inspect all window sashes for typical concealed dry rot damage. Replacing or repairing windows is needed. Okay. All right. So dry rot. Dry rot in need of repair was directed at the window sash as noted in photograph 1. It is important to understand that dry rot may start at the core of a wood member, may not be visible at the time of the inspection, but become very evident in a short period of time once it breaks the surface of the wood. When dry rot does occur, I recommend that dry rotted wood be replaced as soon as possible. Okay. And anytime you've got wooden windows, wooden sashes, wooden front doors, anything like that, that's a possibility. That's why, if you have those wooden windows, replacing them over time is going to keep you from having a lot of headaches in the future. Okay. Very minor damage was observed to the EPS detail as noted in photograph 9. It is recommended to repair this location with base and finish coating, matching existing color and texture. Okay. So he is saying to have the texture be placed over that defect and then repainted. Okay. because stucco is a cement product, it is subject to cracking. Cracks can be anything from minor hairline cracks to fairly large cracks. The stucco observed at the front entry appeared within normal limits and are not believed to be of any damaging moisture infiltration concern. Okay. And then it just says it's recommended to maintain all roof valleys, gutters, and downspouts and clean and free of debris. No joking. Everybody needs to do that. And then he said, once the recommended repairs or modifications are completed, I believe the future maintenance of paint and sealant upkeep should be normal and typical with any homes. And then, so there's that. And this is the invoice. And so this is really what a stucco inspection looks like. Now, this house is going to have a home inspection over the weekend. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is a monster house. It's it's almost 7,000 square feet. So I think next week we're going to go through a couple of sections of that inspection. And I've got another inspection going on today with a smaller home. So I'm going to start looking at inspections because I've learned a lot through the years selling homes and talking to home inspectors and going to home inspections. And the one tomorrow, I will be there for most of the day. But here's the situation. You want to inspect, and there is a basic home inspection that I recommend you do. That home inspection is important but it is not going to guarantee you that things will work 3 days from now. I have seen home inspections where everything looked good and the next day the HVAC system broke. It just happens. Things happen and things break, but it is sort of a bird's eye picture of what's going on at that house at that moment in time. If it's raining out, it's good. I love rainy home inspection days. Why? Because we can see drainage. We can see where the water goes. We can see if there's any water intrusion. And so I don't mind a rainy day. I mind, I would rather it be raining than dry. But these inspections are important. And you start with the home inspection. You start with the obvious. We had a pool inspection this week. We'll go over that at some point. We had the stucco inspection. Home inspection is tomorrow. And then based on what we find in that home inspection, we'll determine whether we move further and do an HVAC inspection, roof inspection, structural, plumbing, electrical. It just depends. So we start with the home inspection and we go from there. And this is how I like to work inspecting a home. But that stucco inspection was important. The pool inspection was also important. And then the overall home inspection. And then we'll dial in, see what else we need to do. So that's sort of how I operate with home inspections. I wanted you to see that stucco inspection because it's something that a lot of agents don't focus on. And, I know that agents want to save their clients money, but here's where we don't save money. If you don't inspect, you don't know. And you won't know until something fails. Okay. If that inspector for that stucco the other day had come in and said, I think I see water intrusion and I need to do an intrusion test, I would have gone back to the seller, asked them for their permission. We would fix it to where it was before the intrusion and test. And then that way the inspector can go in and take a look behind the stucco and see what's going on. So this is how we handle home inspections. That stucco inspection is important. If you are buying a house with stucco, and especially if you are in a subtropical climate or a tropical climate, you really, really, really want to pay that money for that inspection. It can save you so much in the future. All right. Well, that's what I got for y'all today. Catch me on the web, cltmarketbuzz.com, cltmarketbuzz.com. If you want to sign up for my newsletter, go to androidgroup.com. If you want to take a look at some homes on the market, I'll see you tomorrow. And actually, you know what? I think it's Friday. Is it Friday? It's Friday. I never know what day it is. So I will see you Monday. I hope you all have a good weekend. Take care. See you next week. Bye.